Hello everybody and welcome to another video. My name is Herbert and in this video we're going to be setting up a Bitwarden self-hosted server on Linux. So what will you need to set this up? Well, first of all, you're going to need to get an installation ID and key, and these can be created at bitwarden.com/host. And also you're going to need a domain name and an SMTP email account. And this is going to be for the Bitwarden host and email communication. The reason is because you're going to have to point to a specific domain and you're going to need to specify your domain when setting up the Bitwarden server. And also it's going to be very important for your certificate that we're going to be generating with Let's Encrypt. You're also going to need a virtual machine, and this can be on any Linux distro. We're going to be using Ubuntu because it seems to be the most popular flavor out there. The server itself needs to have at least a dual core, and also they specify that it needs to be at least 2 gigahertz, but I think that any modern dual core CPU can definitely handle the task. 4 gigs of RAM and 25 gigabytes of storage is going to be what you need. So the first steps we're going to need to do, and this is before we dive actually into the server itself, we're going to be logging in through SSH. We're going to need to create a VPS, and that VPS needs to have Ubuntu. We're going to be looking at the latest LTS, long-term support version of Ubuntu, or you can just use your preferred distro. We're also going to be needing to create a DNSA record, and this is going to be necessary to point your host name at the public IP of the VPS. We're also going to need to create a few firewall rules. You'll need to open up firewall port 80 and 443 for Bitwarden to function. And in this guide, we're going to be using UFW as a firewall because our provider doesn't give us the option to have our own firewall unless we set up an entire virtual rack, which is a little bit overkill for the demonstration purposes of this video. A little note on the DNSA record. Let's just say that you're running this at home and you don't have a fixed public IP, then you can always just use something like a dynamic DNS. And then you can create a CNAME record that points to that dynamic DNS domain name, and that would also work. Firewall rules. These firewall rules are going to be either opened on your cloud provider, which might be like Azure and AWS, who do offer that option. If you don't run this in a public cloud environment, you're running this at home, for example, you're going to be opening this port on your own router at home. You're definitely going to find some guide on how to do that if you don't know how to do that. UFW is not required if you already have a firewall in front of your server, but you can always just enable it. It doesn't really matter all that much if you want to enable it. Keep in mind that if you're using UFW, you need to enable firewall port 22 as well. Otherwise, you cannot log in through SSH anymore and you're locked out of your own machine, and that's something that we want to avoid, of course. So with that out of the way, let's begin and let's set up this server. After you've logged into your machine, go ahead and update it with sudo apt update and sudo apt upgrade. And we're going to let this run. And when it's done, I'll get back to you. And then we're going to be allowing the firewall rules with sudo UFW allow 22 for our SSH port. And we'll do the same. Sudo UFW allow 80. And then sudo UFW allow 443, and that would cover all of our firewall rules that we need to allow. For the next few commands, you can just copy it out of the description, but also you can go over to the installation guide from Bitwarden themselves. And this will show you that we'll need to install a few things first. As you can see, it's already installed on our machine. These are a few prerequisites before we actually go ahead and create a directory. We're going to be storing the key rings. And then we're just going to get those keys from the Docker website. We're going to be installing Docker now. And now also we're going to be preparing our repository so that we can now update our repository, and the Docker packages should be included now. Then we can go ahead and install Docker with Docker CE, Docker CLI, Containerd, and Docker Compose. Now we're going to be creating a new user for our Bitwarden. So we'll just do sudo add user Bitwarden, and then we'll set a password for it. And then you can also skip all these things here. And I will also need a group called Docker, but chances are that it's already there after you install the Docker package, as you can see here. And then the next thing we'll need to do is add our Bitwarden, sudo usermod -ag, Docker, and then Bitwarden. And then also what I like to do is add it to the sudo group because it's going to make our installation a lot easier for now. And then we'll create a new directory with sudo mkdir /opt/Bitwarden is where we will be installing Bitwarden into. And then we'll change the ownership so that the Bitwarden user has ownership over that folder. And then also we're going to be changing the permissions so that it has read, write, and execute permissions on that folder recursively. And then now we're going to be switching to the Bitwarden user. And so what we will need to do now is we'll need to switch into the /opt Bitwarden directory, and then we can download the installation script, and we'll also give it executable permissions. And now we can start the installation by doing sudo ./bitwarden.sh install. And now we will need to enter the domain name that we created earlier. So in our case, it's bitwarden-test.herbertech.com. And now it's going to ask us if we want to create a Let's Encrypt certificate. We'll do yes. Now we have to enter our email address. And now it's downloading all of those Docker images for us. And now we have to enter a database name. We'll just go with Herbertech-Bitwarden, for example. And now it's also going to be downloading a bunch of Docker images for us here. And now it will ask us for the installation ID, which we also got earlier. You can just copy it in here. And then the same for the installation key, which we also got earlier. We can just enter that here as well. And now it's going to start generating a safe prime here, which is going to take a long time. So I'll just fast forward here. Now it says that we can start our Bitwarden instance with ./bitwarden.sh start. But we're going to do a few changes first. So go ahead and open bwdata env global override.env with vim. And over here, we can fill in our SMTP settings. So we'll need to change that reply to email to the email address that we created for the Bitwarden. And then also the SMTP host needs to be filled in here. Make sure you fill in the port correctly, and then whether or not it uses SSL or not. If it does, you enter true. If it doesn't, you enter false. Then the username is most likely just going to be your email address again, or maybe your provider does require that you use a username. That depends. And then the password for the user, of course, you can just paste that in here, and that should be about it. And then we can just write and quit this. You'll probably need to do :WQ exclamation mark, because it will probably be write protected. And now we're actually already done with everything. So what we're going to do now is we're going to start the Bitwarden instance. It's going to say permission denied because I forgot to enter the sudo in front of it. So we'll need to do sudo /bitwarden sh start. And this is also going to take a long while. So I'll just wait for this to complete, and then I'll get back to you. Okay, so everything is done. We can go over to the website here, which is basically just our host name. And we can paste that in here. We can see that our certificate is also good here. Now we have to go and create an account first. So now go ahead and create a new account. It already says that we have created it. And to confirm this, we can go over to our email. And this is also a good test to see if the email communication works. You should get an email from Bitwarden at the email address that you specified. So the email communication seems to work fine. Let's now go into our account settings here, and let's go over to security. And this is optional, but we're going to add a two-step login. We're going to add the Authenticator app. Let's click manage, and we'll enter our master password here. Let's continue. And over here, we can add a two-step login with Authy or with Google Authenticator. Now it's turned on. Let's close it, and we can still get our recovery code here, which is necessary should we ever lose the Authenticator app. We can always use this recovery code to get access to our vault again. We can just copy this and save it somewhere. I would recommend just printing it out somewhere on a piece of paper. And there we have it. Let's just log out now. Let's enter our email address again. Let's enter our master password. And now it's going to ask us for a verification code from our Authenticator app. Let's enter that 6-digit verification code. We can log in, and we are back in our vault. Now let's add the Chrome extension. There's also extensions for different browsers for this. And let's just type in Bitwarden. Now before logging in here, let's just go into settings and enter the server URL. And now that we changed the server URL, we can click continue, enter our master password, and then the 6-digit verification code. And that's our vault available in our browser extension. Now over here on bitwarden.com/download, you can always download the client itself, which is always handy to have. And now also over here, we're going to go into settings. We're going to enter our server URL. Let's save it. And now we can log in again. And there we have it. We are all set up, and we can start using Bitwarden. So that was it, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and if you enjoyed the video, please leave a like. And if you want to see more videos like this, please subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.